9 brigands. Boom! Oh my gosh. I would like to share with you some tips and tricks for getting your vintage early 80s dark tower back up and running. Okay, so we get the blinking light, and what you do is press any button and that will activate the motor. As you can see, the motor did not turn on and it's frozen. So this is the most common error. What we're gonna have to do is change out the motor. I'm gonna get these 4 screws off. Also note that the bottom edge that has the opening is opposite to the window for when you put this back on. It's always a little confusing. Alright, here's the inside. We definitely have some corrosion following this in. Come to the power connection, take that out. It'll be these 2 pins on the left. The 2 yellow wires are for the speaker, and then the red is for the positive of the motor and black is the negative of the motor. So we're gonna put the top in first. Slide the bottom in. To get it out, you push up, pull it out. Okay. If you have a plastic spudger, a spudger would be good. You just don't want to break the pieces off, because then your tower's gonna... Okay, so here's the tower. There's 2 little nubs sit inside the top. So we're gonna take off the top screw. And here comes the castle top. And then we'll also want to take off the bottom screw. We're also going to disconnect the power on the left and the speaker motor on the right. And then there is this central screw down here. And then your circuit board and tower will slide out. Here's your... Okay, and it also comes with the keypad. Yeah, so there's that. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the motor by first taking off the motor housing with these 2 screws. And the motor should pop right out. Now I'm gonna just snip the wires. You can use a wire stripper. Or you can use like tin snips, wire cutters like that. Now to get the worm gear off the motor, I like to use a flat bladed screwdriver and put a little torque under it, and you just twist it, and you should hear it pop up. And then once it's loose like that, you should be able to pull it out. It's still pretty rough. So here is our replacement motor. It has the 2mm shaft. It's also can be operated on 3 volts. It's by the same manufacturer. Since the replacement motor has the shorter shaft, we're gonna put the worm gear on opposite. So there was this recess on here, which used to go down like that, but now we're gonna turn it 180 and push it on there. And I also like to put just a dab of super glue so that the motor doesn't easily come apart in the future, which I've had happen in shipment. Yeah, it's really tight fit. And we're not gonna push it all the way down. We're gonna leave probably like a 3 to 5 millimeter gap. Okay, so that's all the way, and let's pop it up a little bit. Okay, so there's 2 millimeters there. Now to tell positive and negative, I'm not sure if you can see the etchings or read the etchings, but the all right, on the bottom it says Mabuchi motor, and on the top it has the Mabuchi logo. The Mabuchi logo is the positive side for spinning the proper way. It's making the tower spin the proper way, and the text is the negative. So one thing also with the new motors is that I found them to be a little too fast, and the tower will spin so quickly that it will overshoot the set point. So I found it best to put a resistor in series with the motor to just slow the tower down a little bit. So I think a 10 ohm resistor is the sweet spot. Okay, all right, I'll put the resistor on the positive side. All right, I'm gonna tin this wire here, get some solder flowing on it. Okay. Cool. We'll need about that much heat shrink tubing. And let's get a little bit of solder on the tip here. And get these 2 wires to connect. All right. Okay. Easy peasy. We're going to seat it back into place. As such, here's the motor housing. Excellent. We'll just make sure that the worm gears are lined up so we can manually spin it, and you can see the tower spinning as well. Another thing that we can look at is how the circuit board determines positioning. So, as you can see, there is a LED and a optical sensor on the other side, and those two go through these openings and closings, and it makes a timing circuit, and it determines where it is by when it hits this large opening. So you also want to make sure that these are facing each other. Sometimes they can get out of whack for whatever reason. Yep, so I'll just bend that up a little bit. If your dark tower's still having picture alignment problems even after adding a resistor in series with your motor, one other option is to add some grease to the tower gears to give it some extra friction to slow it down. Once it reaches the picture set point, it won't overshoot. And then here's your picture wheel. And I have added grease to my teeth here. I have this oxidation grease in stock. But essentially, just applying a liberal amount just to the gears. You can see I've already added it to this tower. Okay, and then clean the bottom. And then that gear goes against this cog right here. I believe this one's having an issue with the keypad, so we're going to do a keypad restoration. It seems that the dark tower only believes that I'm pressing frontier instead of move, so we can start a game. Now I'm gonna hit move, and I believe, what does that mean? Am I hitting? I think it thinks I'm hitting frontier. So that one thought I hit dark tower. Let's go to the sanctuary. Okay. Yeah, so it can hit move. The traces do look pretty oxidized. There's copper, and then there's oxidized copper. I've got a hot air gun at 300 Fahrenheit. So I'm just I'm trying to get some air like in that direction. Right in there. Kind of just peeling now. Yeah. I think peeling is the way to go here. flatten it later. Boy, oh boy. Okay, that was fun. How are these connected? Okay, now we're open. You can see all that oxidation going on here. Alright, yeah, so I'm just kind of scouring the oxidized traces. Okay, so I clean the traces up a little bit, and then we're gonna reinsert it. I also sprayed some Deoxit in here, in the ribbon cable connector. Okay, I'm gonna reinsert it. Okay. All right. Now, I'm gonna hold this here like so. And turn it on. All right, see if we can move now. Oh. Nice. Dragon? What kind of luck is that, dude? And I'm gonna stop playing for a second. So we're going to try to re-adhesive this with some glue, and we'll sandwich it overnight so that it's flat. I'm gonna glue this back together. So you can see the this little cutout is for the ribbon, and then there were some glue up here, and then 4 spots of glue in the center. Alright, so I decided I'm just going to use a little bit of super glue and then rest something really heavy on it on a flat table. Alright, got some pretty heavy books here. So I'm just going to reapply just a small amount of glue. And then 4 glue spots here. Let's get it centered here on the top edge. And then I'm going to place that down. and then sandwich it. All right, yeah, so maybe we'll do a little Brasso touch-up on these connections, especially that one. We'll add a little water just to clean off the Brasso. I'm going to test this bulb. Since we're in here, gonna spray a little Deoxit. At the connection. Okay. This is what was in there. It says GE127. Good. Okay, so I got these, as we saw before, this GE127 was what came out of here, and I have replaced it with a JKL Components part number 127. Got a bag of 20. Next, I also like to future-proof the circuit board by replacing the electrolytic capacitor. For replacing your electrolytic capacitors, there's two on the board that are usually low quality. So I'll use a high-quality brand, usually audio-grade, high-temperature, long-lifetime capacitor. This is the 7924149D01 Revision C. Melton Bradley Electronics. You see a little corrosion here. Getting into the trace, take some isopropanol and a Kim wipe or a lint-free cloth. Ooh, that could be just flux. Interesting. Okay, not too bad anywhere else. Okay, on this version of the circuit board, we have one capacitor that's a 470 microfarad at 16 volts, and a second capacitor that's a 4.7 at 25. I'm going to try to pull it. Just take care not to melt the plastic. Wasn't too bad. So this CapR 4.7, let's check it out electrolytically. We can characterize it two ways. One with an LCR meter, which will measure capacitance, and second with an ESR meter, which will measure how much resistance is caused by the capacitor. And so, it's supposed to be a 4.7. And we're just going to see how far out of tolerance it might be. So we already have it set to the right range. And it's 1 microfarad off. That's not bad. Now for an ESR, we probably want to be below 7 or 8 ohms. Oh yeah, look at that. 3 ohms. So this capacitor is still good. But I will still install my audio grade. This one. Try to suck the solder out. Okay. So just I'm gonna push it down with a screwdriver. Okay. And we'll use the snips to get the excess off. All right. Now for the 470, which is a lot easier to get to. It is, sometimes I like to put some fresh solder on the area, and that will give you more flow. So I'm pulling while I am heating the solder. There. Okay. Also very good. All right, so Cap-R seems to be a long lifetime capacitor. This capacitor, I think it goes for like $1. This is a audio grade, also much higher voltage. Let's see. Yeah, so much closer to the specification. Okay, now we solder in place. So first, send the touch panel through, and then put the circuit board in place. Next, we'll put this over. There we go. Then there's these holes here that line up with these nubs. I'll take the front panel off. There we go. Now the screw at the top might not line up perfectly, but you kind of just wiggle it into place. And it is the fatter screw compared to the bottom. Good. And then this can go in there. There. No, it doesn't work. There, jeez. And then that bottom center screw. Okay. Now you can plug back in the speaker and motor on the right. And we can plug the batteries back in. All right, I'm gonna give it a little test run, right? Yes. Move. That's not lucky. Oh, goodness gracious. What's gonna happen? Oh, so you just killed 2 of my guys and stole my gold. Okay. Could have been worse. Thanks, Dragon. Alright, so I think this one's fully functional and future-proofed. The touch panel slides in its little slot. And then remember, the this square edge with the opening goes opposite to the tower face. Looks like there. Okay. Magnets. Fingers. All right, yeah, so maybe we'll do a little Brasso touch-up on these connections. Especially that one. We'll add a little water just to clean off the Brasso. Okay. Final install the batteries. Battery cover. And yeah, let's try it out. Get some ambiance. Okay, of course you spend all the time, test everything. Okay, here's this. All right, false alarm. Phew. Kind of looked better with the lights on. Yeah, it looks fine with the lights on. Come on. Oh, good thing I'm not playing for real. Jeez. All right, let's find a tomb. Nine brigands. Boom. Oh my gosh. I'm winning. Okay, well, that's the Dark Tower restoration complete on this one. Yeah, maybe you just give it a little microfiber wipe down. It should help. Alright, well, this was Toki Vintage Repairs, hopefully with some helpful advice on getting your vintage Dark Tower functioning again. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you're having any other issues with your tower. Thanks.